Hi, I'm Kiki.
And I'm Kemi.
And you're listening to
Your Advisors Will See You Now, a podcast that will help you to figure out all of your options for life after high school. Hey everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Your Advisors Will See You Now podcast. If you didn't know, today is our second podcast anniversary.
That's hilarious. 2 years. Woo, woo. Okay, we got sound effects now, y'all.
I know we got sound effects. So that was a duck. But hey, everybody, we are going to discuss in this special episode our top twos for our top 2-year anniversary. So I created a list of questions for me and Kiki to dive into based on just our 2 years of having a podcast. Kiki does not know the questions yet, but it's okay. She decided to go in unknowing. So we'll see how this episode goes. For the first question, out of all of our top career episodes, which one is your top favorite? So I'll share mine, you share yours, and that will be 2 for top 2.
Okay.
And side note for people that are just listening, our career series is a series that we have where we interview people in different careers and we ask them how they got into that industry or how they pivoted into that industry. If you're interested in that, please make sure you check all of our previous episodes. Those are really, really fun for us to do. And if you feel as though you have a very interesting career and you want to share with us, then reach out to us at our email. So hope to hear from you soon. But Kiki, what is your top career episode that we covered?
So that one you did tell me before we started. So I was going through just now to figure it out. I don't know if I have a favorite because they've all been really, really good. We've had really amazing guests every single time. But I was just going through and I remembered this one. So the one I'm going to choose today as my top is the one about how to get into a career in construction management. And that was with my friend Megan. And I just thought about why it's my favorite because I just love Megan. She's really awesome, but just her journey. And I think, there's a number of ways to get into construction, and especially for a woman, it's just different. It's a different field, but women are entering the field now. So just to hear how she started with like her associate's degree, and that led her to get an internship at a really big company here in Charlotte, and she's getting her bachelor's degree in that field now. So just hearing like how many opportunities she created for herself and how she took advantage of everything, that's really the goal of our podcast. And there's so many people like that. That's why I was like, it's hard to choose one, but I just remembered hers. And it's a really inspiring episode. So that's what I'm going to choose today. It might change, but there's so many. Everybody was great though, I promise.
Yeah. It really was. It's really hard to pick one because this series has been just so rewarding for us because we've learned so much about careers that we only knew on face level. And then when we're talking to people, we're like, oh, you actually do this, or I didn't know you actually did this and specifically. So it's been really rewarding hearing that and just hearing everybody's highs and lows of their different careers, because I think sometimes we think that there's a perfect career or there's a perfect job that we're just going to love every piece of it. No, there's pros and cons to everything. For me, this one was hard, but I think one of my favorite it was actually recent, the forensic scientist one, just because I feel like I always use that as a prime example on our podcast where we say, everybody wants to be like a forensic scientist or a detective and they don't know what exactly they do. And then we finally got to interview someone that was in that career. So, we said it so many times and then she reached out to us to actually interview her. And that one was pretty interesting. And it was interesting in the fact of, it can definitely be a taxing job because you're working on so many cases, but the impact that you can have to like resolve some of these cases and change lives and make that impact on the community. I thought that was really, really interesting. And some of the things she did mention, I was like, oh, that does, kind of sound a little bit like CSI. Maybe I can't use that example anymore of it's not like CSI. And I was like, oh, maybe it is like CSI. I don't know. But it was rewarding. That was a good one. And I think a good follow-up one, I don't know. They were all so good. I have another follow-up question on that later. So we'll hop into that later.
Okay.
The second question that I have is, what is your top life after the degree episode? Kiki.
Man. We have so many episodes now. Like they just all run together. I'm trying to think. Because it's the most recent in my head right now. The one about prioritizing health because
Mm,
I feel like we have a lot of friends right now, like even ourselves, but we're all kind of,
yeah.
realizing, as we're getting older, we're not old, but as we're getting older, it's really important to take care of yourself, like in your like just setting boundaries for yourself
Mm,
in terms of like your health, your career, your personal life, relationships, and that all plays into your overall well-being. So I think that one is the one I can think of right now. We have so many. Like everything is gonna be so hard to choose because they've all been really good
mm,
episodes. But I think that one because it's relevant to me right now, and I'm definitely in a journey of learning how to better take care of myself and better prioritizing health. What
yeah,
about
we
you?
only got one body, one life.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I agree. I think that was definitely in my top, but since you mentioned that one, I think the other favorite episode that I had was it was like adulthood and 5-year planning, and
Mhm.
I think that was first of all, I think these are actually one of our favorite, like, series that we do, like, after the degree, because it's more just laid back and we're just,
Yeah.
reminiscing on what it was like when we came out of college, what we learned in college, and what life actually is like, and what we didn't learn from college
Mhm.
that they didn't teach us to prepare for, you
Yes.
know? And many of the discussions that we have, or if we have anybody come on, we're finding just so many similarities of, yeah, I'm going through this too, or like this transition too. So, but it was the adulthood and 5-year planning one that stood out for me
Mhm.
because when we talked about it, it was like we definitely have had plans for where we're going to go, and it always changes, and you never know what's going to happen. And I think also on a macro level of everybody, like before 2020 hit, people had plans and everybody's plans greatly shifted after
Mhm.
2020.
Right.
Like the economy literally shifted in so many
Mhm.
different ways. So I think it helps you to show grace to yourself if you
Mhm.
have a plan and it doesn't look exactly like it is 5 years later, to show grace to yourself.
Mhm.
Nothing's
Right.
going to be perfect and we're all trying to figure it out as we go. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So
Good
those are
one.
my favorites. Next on top two. What was your favorite relevant ramble episode?
Let me look. I like just looked it up. So my favorite was the one with Dan from or about the learning disabilities and
Mm,
accommodations. That one just like stuck with me because, as
yeah.
like as advisors, we always, told students like go see if they disclose that they have a learning disability or had an IEP in high school, it's like just tell them to go to the disability counselor to talk to them about how to get accommodations. But I feel like he just had so much really great knowledge and just tips and like very like practical tips that anyone can use. And it was, for people that have disabilities, whether learning or physical disabilities, but also anyone really could use those tips. It was just really about how to navigate college through whatever season of life or like
Mm,
whatever your as a new student basically coming into college, how to navigate that process. That was one of my favorites for sure. He just was very thorough, like answered all our questions really, really well. And
mhm,
you could just tell that he's an expert in that field. And I wish I would not wish, but like I want to go through like his courses. 'Cause I think a lot of people that heard the episode, like you should buy the courses that he has because that
mhm.
us interviewing him was a snapshot of what you should do. But if you are someone that has a disability, should take his course so you're better informed how to start college and how to navigate college, as somebody that has a learning disability. So that was
Yeah.
a really good one.
Yeah, shout out to Dan on that episode, and he just gave a lot of insight too, just for, like, parents that are letting their child transition into college, even in
Mhm.
general. It was very insightful. If I would definitely recommend that episode for any people that are parents and their kids are going off to community college, four-year college, or trading school, whatever, to definitely listen into that one because there was so many just nuggets of wisdom in that one.
Mhm.
And definitely check out his website. And I was even talking to another friend too about, like, there's like such an increase in numbers of even people just having like ADD or ADHD.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so since that is increasing, it's definitely helpful for people to understand like those resources and how that information can help you go about picking a college if you decide to go to college.
Right.
Because you really want to, at the end of the day, like me and Kiki are always like, hey, make wise choices if you're going to go to college, so that way you're not wasting money. So make
Mhm.
sure you're making the best decision before you, start paying that tuition.
Mhm.
My relevant ramble that I found interesting, we did so many, but I think one of my favorites was we did it was like tips for transitioning from high school to college. We
Mhm.
did a part 1 and a part 2, and I don't know why, when we do those episodes of, like, transitioning from high school to college, it makes me just feel so nostalgic and look back to how, like,
Mhm.
green behind the ears we were and coming out of
Yeah.
high school. Like, "Yeah, I'm a senior in high school, and I'm an adult now, and I'm going to college," and then after you see your first semester grades, it's like, "Huh, depression." So it
Yeah.
really was giving those tips was really like, "Hey, it's a big transition, you're away from home, you're
Mhm.
independent now, you're making your own schedule now. Here's how to prep for that and how to handle that," because it may seem like you can easily do that, but it can be really difficult,
Right.
especially
It
if you
is.
had such a set schedule in high school. Like you wake up, you go on the bus, you sit in class. Classes don't operate like that. You can go if you want to. If you don't, no one's gonna care. You
Mhm.
know,
Your
you're
grades will
paying that.
care,
Your
but
grades will care, and you got to pay for that. And if you
yeah.
gotta retake it again, you got to pay for it again. So you have to put the care in that, and you have to find and dig that motivation, and not
Mhm.
just go because someone's telling you to go. You have
Right.
to be like, okay, this is what I want to do. And this is my future. This is what I want to craft and curate for what I want to do. So I always find those ones very, very nostalgic and
Mhm.
helpful.
I agree.
'Cause
I agree,
yeah.
definitely.
My next questione. Pregunta. Um, this kind of goes right into that. So, what would be one of your top tips for high school students trying to figure it out? So, let's say you have a senior that comes into your office and they're like, I don't even know where to start and I don't even know what to do. Like, what would you even suggest?
I think I would say just ask questions because that's the thing I did not do enough of. I just went to high school, applied to college, went to college. I didn't really ask questions about like, "Oh, what should I," and I know like like to your question or to
Mhm.
your point, like a senior that just doesn't know anything. I know you're probably like, I don't know what to ask. Like, how do I know what to ask if I don't know anything about
Right.
this? But if you have like a trusted person, like your parents, like ask them like, okay, so when you were going to college, if they went, or like when you were finishing high school, what were you thinking about? Talk to your
Mhm.
counselors. If you have older siblings, if you have people in your community, just ask them questions about, okay, and that's where I would say start. Okay, when you were a senior, what were things that you were thinking about, or like how did you decide what you wanted to do, or how did you decide you wanted to go to college or not go to college? And a lot of it probably for people that are older than you, if you're a senior listening that are older, like your parents or grandparents, counselors, probably their parents informed what they were gonna do. It's like,
Mhm.
well, your family owns a business, so you're gonna go to the family business, or you're going to college, so you're going to college. So they may not have had as much decision making authority in them in what in their next steps. But just ask questions, and again, I think I just did not do that enough.
Mhm.
And I feel like if I would have just asked questions, I would have been a lot better informed about just how to navigate and like what to look for. Because then as you start to hear from them what their journey was like, you can kind of piece together, okay, this is what I want to do that they did well, or maybe they didn't do this well, so I don't want to do that. I don't want to just go like just kind of be spontaneous. I want to be like a very intentional about this journey. And again, I know it's hard at 17, 18, 19, however old you are as a senior, but that's where I would say to start. Just talk to
Mhm.
people that are older than you that have been through a little bit of life and see what their steps were to get where they are. And again, that can kind of help you shape what your path could look like.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. And I think, yeah, and that could be the number one question. Just saying, when you were a senior, what did you do? And talking to whether it's your parents or talking to whether you had a friend that graduated before you,
Mhm.
talking to maybe it could be a teacher, talking to maybe you work at a part time job somewhere at a restaurant and
Mhm.
someone else is a college student, or maybe they're in community college, or talking to someone who's in a different profession. I think it's very helpful if people, I would say maybe find like a mentor or get like a mentor
Mhm.
program, because there are some people that are, first generation students too, so they might not
Right.
know, their parents
At
might
all.
not even know
Mhm.
that process, or you may even have like a student that's like an international student. They just started, high school here and their family's used to doing like college in another country, but it might be different
Right.
here. So
Mhm.
looking for a mentor, I think that would be very helpful when you're in college. And I think my tip would be, don't think that you have to follow exactly what your friends are doing. Just because your friend is stuck on, I want to go to an Ivy League school, that does not mean that you need to go to an Ivy League school. You do not need to get gassed up just for going to an Ivy League school. You know, if you want to go there, then go there. If you look at their program, you see that they match like your lists. You see that if you look at the data of careers when people come out of there based on the major that you want to take, if it looks good, okay, then do that, you know? But just because Jim, Bobby, Sally, they're all going to like UV woo woo down the street,
Mm,
you think that you want to be with your friends, that you just want to go there just because of them, don't do
right.
that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, do some
Mm,
self-reflection on what your needs are, what you think your future is, you know, start picking that apart and go from there to determine what's the best fit for you.
mhm.
Because there's just been so much, you know, movement on like, I'm going to go to college because my friend's going to college. Or even shout back to the millennials. We all thought that, and we were all told to go to college and we're going to get a career and we're going to make a lot of money. A lot of us are looking around like, who told us that?
Yeah.
Because, you know, with all this student loan debt, you know?
Immediately no.
Immediately, no, that's not necessarily the case. So definitely talk to mentors and unpack what you want to do, unpack your finances and what you see yourself doing in the future. Kiki and I are definitely going to have like some ebooks and some other products that we're going to sell in the future to help you unpack these pieces. So stay tuned for that in the
Mhm.
future. But for now, for free, talk to some mentors, talk to friends, family, and get out there. And just start with that first question of when you were a senior, what did you do? And then
Mhm.
that will help you to unpack further questions that come next for
Right.
you. My next question, I'm like trying to read, I'm like, what did I write here? Okay, what is a tip for, I don't even know what I meant by this. What is your tip for people in adulthood? I mean, if you want to
I
go
don't
deep,
know.
how do you know that someone's an adult? I
We need to questions that need answered. I need to ask that question.
don't
Um,
I feel as though
well
I'm an adult because my body be creaking.
well,
My back
yeah,
is
but
popping, my
mine's been
hips.
creaking since college, so that's why I'm like,
So
that's what
you go
adulthood is.
first. You go first. You're the elder.
Well,
You go
n I'm body wise, I'm the elder. Technically, I'm not. But no, I guess I would say just find a community. That's the biggest thing that's really helped me. Like
Mm,
I can be prone to just wanting to be alone or like I love having friends. Like I grew up an only child, so I love having friends and people around me.
mm,
But it's just like having community because just have like even if it's like one or two friends, people that you know you
mm,
can count on. I would say I probably have a bigger circle, like just because from college we just had a lot of friends, and I've stayed in touch. I think you have too, Kemi. I stay in touch with like a lot of friends from high school too,
mhm,
mainly church that we just actually I'll say church that we've grown up together. I have some friends from high school that I'm still in touch with. So and it's just like fun to have people from like your different phases of life that some
mm,
people have known you for a very long time. Some people you're just getting to meet, but people that can hold you accountable, people that can be examples to you, can be encouragement to you, people that can
mm.
just check you if you need to be checked, or people you can like build with. So I think the biggest thing that I've found
People that can
value in
pray
right
with you.
now, people that can pray with you, people that will pray
Mhm,
for you, people that you know, like
mm,
you know, right, that you know they're praying for you, people that will go to the gym with you or that will
mm.
help you like reach your goals, all of that. All of that. So that's the thing I've found. Like as I guess we are adults. Not I guess we are adults. As an adult, that's like very
Unfortunately.
valuable. Yeah, it's very valuable to have community, and especially like you mentioned people that can pray for you or pray with you. Like yeah, because our faith is so big in our life, in our lives. It's like yes,
Mm,
people that you can just like talk about your faith journey with, and that
mhm,
just we're all like building and growing together, and specifically for us, like as we're going closer to the Lord, people that are like oh. People that you can like, you read the Bible with them and like they have some insight on the Bible that you're like, oh,
mhm.
I haven't thought about that before. Let me go read this and like read it for myself, or like let's read this together and see what we can understand about the Bible
Yeah,
or this faith journey. But it's just really life too. Like you're figuring out life together. That's why I question. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm sure there's adults that are older than us that will say I don't know. But I
yeah,
feel like the older you get, the more life experience you have. It's just life experience. You and like the whole point of this podcast, we just want to be able to give wisdom to the people coming behind us And, hopefully we have people, and we do have people ahead of us. Like we see our parents and just older adults, older
Mhm.
friends that can impart wisdom on us. And it's all just like that's the generosity of life experience. Like you kind of impart wisdom on people to say like,
Mhm.
oh, I didn't do this right. So hopefully to help you avoid the same mistake, I'm going to tell you this. And so that, people aren't repeating cycles.
Mm.
That was my
Mhm.
long answer. What's
No, that
yours?
was really good. That was a good answer. I really like that a lot. I was like, "What's my answer gonna be?" Um, I guess so building off something you said, maybe an adult tip is being okay in living in the "I don't know," because there's gonna be so many different parts in adulthood, in different stages in adulthood where you're like, "I don't even know what's going on right now. I don't even know if I'm in love with this career right now. I don't even know, do I want kids right now? I do." The next week, you're like, "I don't know." Then again, you're like, "Well, I do." And there's, like, so many different "I don't know," It's like,
Mhm.
this week I'm gonna stick to this diet. I'm gonna do this, this, this. I'm like, is it working for me next week? I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's like, being okay in those times that happen where you're like, I don't know what's going on right now, and just I say this for encouragement for, it's okay. Pick yourself back up and put yourself on another path. Like just
Yeah.
like figure out what you want to do next and it's okay. Do some research. Just try not to get in like a slump about it or don't try to feel guilty about it. Don't try to
Mhm.
compare yourself to others where they are in their stages of life because that
Right.
can be really, really, you
Mhm.
know, social media is a killer. Everybody puts highlights on and no one puts like the struggles that they go through. No one's under
Yeah.
10% transparent. So don't
Yeah.
be comparing yourselves to others, especially because we're talking about like I know like we're trying to really be healthy and work through that right now. But I'm not gonna sit here and look at a celebrity that I know that they have a personal chef. They can work out for 4 hours in a day. I
Mhm.
can't be comparing myself to that and feeling guilty about that. It's doing the
Right.
best that I can each and every day and trying to figure it out as I go. So, yeah, if
Amen.
that makes sense.
Mhm.
Well, do you have any extra questions before I have this last question?
No, I like this format. I have no questions, honestly.
Okay. My last question was based on all of our careers so far. If someone told you today you have to pick one of the careers that you interviewed on your podcast, what would you pick? What would you do?
Oh, already. And this is why I was like, it was hard to decide because then I remember we talked to Cole about being a PA,
Mhm.
and it would be a PA. It would be either
Mm.
so like a PA. I'm gonna choose three. I know you said one, but like PA. I really like Jen talking about being a pharmacist. I was like, that sounds really cool.
That was
And
cool.
then Manny being a
And that
therapist.
was cool
So
too.
the theme is healthcare here. Anything in healthcare, like I honestly really loved those. Do we have any other ones in healthcare? I think those were the biggest three. I don't think we had, or the only three we have had so far.
Mhm.
But yeah, those are my top ones. And I think PA for sure because I have always, not always, but if I would have known about being a PA probably in high school, I and understood what it was, I maybe would have been a PA today. Not saying the
Mm.
dream is dead, but and so then like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I was like on a journey, like taking classes, like, oh, let me try some prereqs to be like for PA school. PA school is a
Mhm.
lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot that goes into it.
Mhm.
As if you didn't hear the episode from Cole, a lot goes into it, but it's a very rewarding career. So, and now that I work like in the like I'm not a healthcare professional, but like in that setting, I'm like, oh, maybe something in healthcare is could still be a dream or reality, I should say. So
Hmm.
those were for sure my favorite episodes because I've always felt drawn to healthcare,
You
even
could
though I haven't.
become
Mhm,
hmm. Those
mhm.
are cool, Kiki. Those are so
Thanks.
cool.
Thanks. What's
Um,
yours?
if I had to lean to one the most, and it's something that I've definitely done before, it'd be event planning.
I thought
My
that was a
mom
good one. Yeah.
it was. My mom always calls me a themer, and I've always been like, I always love doing themes or like little mini get-togethers or whatever it is, or whether it be doing events for like student activities and stuff. I've
Mhm.
always enjoyed doing that and just seeing communities come together and just have fun. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that. The other careers that I'm like, "Oh, this is so cool," but I know it's just me gassing myself up, is, being a diesel mechanic. I think there's just something so cool
That was
about,
yeah.
being like a savant in an area where then you could
Mhm.
just get in there I can just see that just is so cool. Like, you're like, "Oh, I know how this whole entire machine works. Let me get in there and I can fix it and do stuff that's hands-on."
Right.
That's pretty cool to me.
Mhm.
Even like the welding, that kind of fascinates me too, like
Mhm.
in a handheld sense. And even I have like a very creative side, so I could definitely see myself like creating stuff out of welding or pieces for homes or something like that. So
Mhm.
that interests me. And then something that I knew I could not, well, like you can do, and you
Don't say
can do
that.
anything, you want to put your mind to. But I'm not gonna
Right.
lie, when Jen and she became like a pharmacist, that was really interesting. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I found that very interesting. Just understanding like the body, the different compounds, like what you can create to help people, topical like medication that
Yeah.
you take. But I know I am not a math person. I am a science person to an extent. And I know that I just can't have that stress. Like when she was talking about when they're in the hospital, and then I forgot what she mentioned, but when
She's
it's like
an
you're
ER
looking at,
pharmacist, I think, too. So it's like
yeah, when she does
high level, like
yeah,
just high intensity, I guess.
yeah. Like you have to really be I'm the kind of person like I'm really organized and I want to make
Yeah.
sure that everything is on point, that stuff can't go wrong. And I know that's like a little perfectionist thing in me, but I need to work on that. But having to go through all those documents all the time, I forgot what it's like, but you can kind of get tired and your brain can kind of fog up a little bit.
Mhm.
And then just that kind of stress would get to me if I messed up. So even though everybody's human, everybody's gonna mess up.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just found it so cool. I thought that one was a
Mhm.
really cool one. It was really cool.
It was for sure. And, like, literally, they've all been so good. That's why we could go down the
Mhm.
list. We could go down the list and just shout out everybody and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, that one was good," 'cause we haven't had a bad one,
No. They were
honestly.
all really cool. Like, just it
They're
was
all
like,
really
"Oh my
cool.
gosh, that's what you do? Like, for real? That's what you do?"
Yeah.
Like, that's
I'm thinking too, like, of the people that are kind of, like, entrepreneurs, like, their own business people, like, the real
Mhm.
estate with Hannah and
Mhm.
Ronnie, who, like, runs her own, like, marketing
Yeah, marketing.
and Obi,
Mhm.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
Obi
okay.
and Jen, like, I'm sure there's somebody else too. Like Beth, like she's a chef. Like she teaches, but she also does her own thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think those are cool too because it's cool to see people that go to their jobs and work on a team with like a manager, things like that. But also you can see the people that work as kind of work for themselves and but
Mhm.
everybody started as for the most part, everybody explained they started working on a team or like working under somebody, but now,
Mhm.
the more like you said, kind of you become like a savant in something. Like
Yeah.
we're all kind of very knowledgeable in an area or a field, and they just kind of took that and were like, well, I can do this by myself and use that knowledge from that previous job to run my own company. So I think those are really cool too. Like anyone that like they're all okay. I'm gonna keep saying this. They've all been so much. And
Yeah.
I feel like those have been I don't even know where that idea came from. Thank you, Lord, that the music had an idea to like let's do career chats, and hopefully they've been really helpful to everyone that listens. Like whether you're
Mhm.
in middle school, high school, or you're already a professional and you're thinking about pivoting a career, like hopefully you now have some insight on like what it is. And that's our whole goal with those, just like understanding what it is, because
Mhm.
that goes back to my answer about just asking questions. Like I just didn't know. Like I always say I wanted to be a physical therapist back in the day, and I actually didn't even know a physical therapist. I just went to like after tennis practice, I'd go talk to the trainer or like not go talk, but go see the trainers for treatment. So, but I just sat there. I thought it was cool that they gave treatment. They're not physical therapists though. So I really didn't know. I just said,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm gonna be a physical therapist." 'Cause I knew that term. I knew it was in the sports field, and that was all I knew. I just didn't ask questions. So if you're like a little bit more shy, you can listen to these episodes and you can kind of pull things that people have said and you're like, "Okay, now I have some knowledge of, like, questions to ask, like, about their
Right.
day-to-day, or about what they do, how they got into the field, because 'cause you've heard it from them, people that we know, and now you can go talk to other people and say like, "Oh, I heard somebody else say that they do da 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 da," and you're like and they'll tell you like, "Oh, yeah, it's like that, but we
It's
also
like da 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 though.
yeah, it's like da 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 da." So, that's why I think these have been really fun, the career chats, and Kemi already said it, or do you have anything else you wanna
No, those are all the
say?
questions.
Okay. But Kemi already said it, like, if you're in a career that we have not yet interviewed or talked about, reach out to us because we definitely will keep this going for as long as we can
Mhm.
because there's just so many careers out there, so many careers out there. And if you have, we're gonna say it all the time. If you have ideas or things that you want us to hear about, I had a thought. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I had a thought. If you want us to like answer questions, that you have a question you want us to answer like on the podcast, send
Mhm.
us your questions. Like we'll figure out a way to make it a episode. So
Yeah,
we
for sure. Because people ask questions on TikTok, and we definitely got some, like, random kids seeking insight on, like,
Mhm.
Instagram. So
Yeah.
just send us an email, and then we'll read it
Mhm.
out loud.
Exactly, and just like that, we'll read it out loud, kinda like a Q&A, but
Mhm.
we haven't recorded in a long time, if you can't tell. I feel very rusty. Kemi's been fine. I
Mhm.
feel very rusty, but we're, like, just in a planning phase right now, so we are open to new concepts, new ideas. We're open to questions that we can hopefully answer for you, but yeah, that was our 2-year anniversary episode, and thank you everyone for the support. For I don't know that we thought we'd still. I don't know what we thought. We didn't. I don't know if we had thoughts. We're like, let's just do it. So, thanks for everybody that supports us,
I was like,
that
"What were you
listens.
thinking?"
But I'm saying, like, we just were like, let's just do it. And here we
Yeah.
are 2 years later. So thanks for everybody that listens, that supports, that shares, that I find every chance to put that we have a podcast just to air it out there. But if you like, keep sharing it, please keep reaching out. Maybe you don't really reach out, but we'd love to hear from you is what I should say. People don't reach out like we would love, but we want to hear from you. So thank you. And we have some great things coming down the pipeline, as they say. So stay tuned. And what else? I
We'll
don't know.
see you in the next one.
See you in the
We'll see
next
you
one.
See
Thanks.
ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening to the latest episode of Your Advisors Will See You Now. Please make sure to follow us on all of our social media pages and check out our website. Take a look at the show notes below.
And please make sure to subscribe and share this podcast. Also, show us some love and please leave a 5-star review. Catch you next time.
See ya.